You got the one and only Ray Dunne moving from behind the glass to sit next to me in studio. What's going on, Raymond?
This is wonderful. This is a nice seat right here. This is a fun seat. I'm excited for today.
Yeah, so Ray's got the nice, comfortable number 2 chair in here, and behind the glass we got Sean Rodman. But there's a ton to talk about today. It's interesting. Even though it's a Friday in February and the NFL season's over, there's not a lack of topics when it comes to sports because the Eagles' offseason already in full swing. We know that franchise tags can be applied. There's a lot of rumors already circulating about free agents, both inside the Novacara complex and out. A big name, potential stud coming to Philadelphia. We'll get into all of that. Seemed like a pipe dream before, but now when you got NFL insiders on a national level talking about the possibility, give a little hint, his name's Myles Garrett.
What?
The possibility, but we'll talk about that. We got the Philadelphia Phillies starting spring training. They're in action this weekend. We got something to talk about with regard to a contract extension there. The Sixers season may be finally over. We got to get into that as well. And then how about it? We're going to start the show a little hockey talk, Ray? A little hockey talk? We had the Four Nations face-off come to conclusion last night. What a tournament. What a game. Of course, it goes into overtime last night. Unfortunately, Connor McDavid, an absolute stud, wins it for Canada, but a great, great couple of weeks for hockey as a whole. And PK Subban, if you don't know him, used to play in the NHL, does a great job as an analyst. He had some interesting things to say about the difference between the NHL and the NBA. So we're going to get into all of that today, Ray, because there is a lot on the table. But I do want to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles, because we now know who the offensive coordinator is going to be, Kevin Patullo. We had A.J. Brown say some interesting things. We'll get into that later on in the show. But more importantly, I want to do a little Fantasy Friday today, because you know, if I wasn't doing this, my second dream job would be general manager of an NFL football team. So everybody today is going to be able to play general manager. Everybody today on this Fantasy Friday is going to be able to put their Howie Roseman cap on. I bleed for this city, Howie Roseman, and make decisions about what they would do this offseason when it comes to free agency, potential trades, draft picks, all of it, because there's a lot on the table, Ray, and we are in full swing already. There's no offseason anymore with the NFL. It's all year round.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Eagles. That feels like something we would do.
Yes.
Feels like something we would do all year long.
But you know what we're not going to talk about today? At least I don't think so over the next 4. Nick Sirianni.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Because we don't really need to talk about him anymore. I don't have to defend Nick Sirianni anymore. He has proven to be an excellent coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. And I think the conversation and arguments are over. So now we get to just talk about the personnel going forward.
3 minutes into a show yesterday, which I was promised we were not going to talk about Sirianni. Here you are praising Sirianni.
Here I am praising Sirianni.
This is going to be an interesting 4 hours.
No, we're not going to do anything about Sirianni. But our man Mike Missanelli, he's probably not tuned in today. I already have people asking me, are we going to do the Field of 64 about the most annoying things about Mike Missanelli? No, we're not going to do that today. Doesn't seem right to do it behind his back. I think we should do it on the day he's here.
So Monday morning.
Yeah,
that's good.
When he comes back Monday morning, we'll do the Field of 64. But all right, let's talk about the Eagles to start, because I teased it a little bit just now. But as soon as Myles Garrett, the week of the Super Bowl, declared that he wanted to be traded from the Cleveland Browns, like we do as a city and a fan base all the time, we start saying, oh, the Eagles should get him, the Eagles should get him. My knee-jerk reaction was, as much as I would love Myles Garrett on the Philadelphia Eagles, there's no chance. Like, it's an absolute pipe dream. They're not going to be able to get him. Every time we hear a big name, we can't just assume that the Eagles are going to get him. But now there's starting to be some rumblings, right? Is this a possibility?
Why do you do that? Why do you try and shut that down? Why can't I dream? Why can't I think everyone's going to be here? It's Howie season. Anyone could be here. I have deemed in my head that some way, somehow, that man can make it happen. I see Myles Garrett in the open market. Immediately, I've already got him photoshopped in a Birds uniform in my head. Now, I can't actually do it. I'm not that good with Photoshop, but I could see it in my head. I see the vision. Yeah, I think this is a real possibility. And the way people are talking right now, seems like there's an actual chance this one could happen. I don't know why anyone would be against it. I don't know why people want me to think logically about it. I'm going to think irrationally about this, man. He's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle.
Thinking rationally about it. Dude, honestly, though, let's pipe dream for a second, and we'll talk about how the Eagles could maybe get him and some of the things that the national media are saying about the Eagles getting him. But I want you to picture this defense with Myles Garrett along that defense.
I've been doing it for weeks.
It really would be unbelievable. And it's going to cost a lot to get him. But you think about it, this would be a typical Howie Roseman move. You just go to the Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl. You have the number one defense in the NFL. And then what do you do in the offseason? You go out and you get arguably the best defensive player we've seen in a decade in the National Football League.
The man's so good leading up to the 5th Super Bowl in this franchise's existence. People were thirsting over him instead of talking about the Super Bowl. That's how good this guy is.
He is that good. And for people who maybe don't follow the Cleveland Browns that much, I mean, the good thing about the NFL, unlike other sports where there's stars on other teams and maybe you don't see them that much, like in the NBA and Major League Baseball, when you're talking about a guy that plays on a team that's not a popular team, you don't know who they are sometimes. NFL, everyone knows who Myles Garrett is, right? Even though he plays for the lowly Browns.
Yeah, let's be honest, though. There's not a lot of you that have watched more than the highlights of Myles Garrett. We're not getting a lot of Browns games.
National. Yeah, unless they've played the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
Right.
You saw Myles Garrett once this season for a full game. Other than that, you might have seen a quarter or two, but you did not stick through 4 quarters, and I don't blame you. That's not a shot at you. I'm not better than you. I'm the same way because I'm not sticking through a Cleveland Browns game.
Well, there's a reason why he wants out of Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's not financially motivated. Myles Garrett doesn't want to leave because he doesn't think he's going to get paid. He's gotten paid. He would get another contract. The guy would get paid a ton. He wants to win, and he wants to play for a competitor that has a real shot to win a Super Bowl. And the Eagles check off all those boxes, man. They check off all of those boxes. And again, I know some people out there may be saying, what are we doing here? Like every time there's a big name free agent or player on another team that says he wants to be traded, we immediately think, oh, the Eagles should go get him. But there are real possibilities that the Philadelphia Eagles could get him. In fact, national media guys, so you're talking Dan Graziano from ESPN, who's really connected with the NFL. He was on, I believe, Get Up yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what Dan Graziano had to say about the Eagles and Myles Garrett. Listen to this. What, you got it, Sean?
I need a moment to get it.
Oh, okay. Sean's going to pull it up. So Sean's going to pull up Dan Graziano on Get Up. Because this isn't like us saying it, Ray. This isn't local media saying it. This isn't even local beat reporters saying it. This is a national guy that covers the league, covers all 32 NFL teams, who's indicating that this is a real possibility. And it wasn't only Dan Graziano. In fact, there's another insider. Everybody knows Bill Barnwell. We cite to Bill Barnwell a lot.
The last 2 seasons, he's had the Eagles regressing both years.
So he's not always right. He's not always right, Ray.
1 for 2, by the way.
But Bill Barnwell said his bold prediction, Myles Garrett to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, he actually says extra bold, Myles Garrett to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Why extra? Why do you got to throw that likelihood lower than it has to be? Why do you have to throw that in there? I feel pretty good about the likelihood of that one.
And then he also says, the rich get richer.
As they should.
But like, when you hear it coming from a guy like that, right? When you hear it coming from a guy like Barnwell, and Sean's working on the audio of Dan Graziano, but that makes you feel a little bit good. Like, this is not just local people. This is a reality that nationally they're saying it's a possibility.
Yeah, Graziano's saying it's a possibility. Bill Barnwell's run the numbers on it. Bill Barnwell's not just throwing things out there to throw things out there. There's one thing that man does is run numbers. I swear, I think his like home office is just like 35 computers that run numbers all day long, just giving him calculating odds, calculating salary cap. That man has more numbers in his one office room than some companies have in their entire database. That is like his role there for ESPN. If he's saying that it's a possibility, it's something that can work out numerically for the Philadelphia Eagles. So for everyone that's like, oh, would it cost too much with the salary cap? No. How we would figure that out, 1. And 2, I think there is a realistic fit that you look at what the Eagles are going to need this offseason. You look at where they're at in their contention window and what Myles Garrett wants. It all should be a perfect marriage. Pay the price. Go get the man. Make him a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, so we're going to definitely continue to talk about the Myles Garrett thing. We want to hear from you. I mean, obviously, I know you would want Myles Garrett, but do you think this is a real possibility? Because when we get back, I'm going to play that clip of Dan Graziano. Sean's pulling it. But I'm also going to play a clip of A.J. Brown, because A.J. Brown went on a podcast yesterday, and he was asked, What would be your dream acquisition for the Philadelphia Eagles this offseason? Spoiler alert, it's going to make you happy when he says what his dream acquisition would be. So we're going to play both of those clips for you. We'll continue the Eagles offseason topic. You have the right today. It's Fantasy Friday. So you can put on the Howie Roseman cap. What would you do this offseason? Not only about Myles Garrett, but we're going to get into what the free agents look like on both sides of the football. Who would you sign? Who would you let walk? Who would you cut to free up some cap space? Because there are some players on this Eagles team where if the Eagles moved on from them, could free up cap space to maybe go out big game hunting for a guy like Myles Garrett. So we have all that coming up. We'll dive into a little Phillies, a little bit of Sixers Celtics, which was just ugly.
What happened?
What's that?
There was a game?
Oh, yeah, there was a game.
Oh.
And then the Four Nations. Because I do want to hear from people, too, on the Four Nations. Like, did this change your opinion of hockey? Are you now a hockey fan? But you can get in. 610-632-0975. A lot on the table today. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.